Shashtanga Pranam to Thakur Mahan Swamiji, our pranams to revered Maharaj, and pranams and Happy New Year to all the devotees present. So we are reading from the lectures from Colombo to Almora, and we are studying the lecture, The Mission of the Vedanta. And so shall we start reading the paragraph, Maharaj?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I am using the book 33rd reprint June 2011 and page number 105, The Mission of the Vedanta. I am starting from the last paragraph. Thus, there is a great opening for the Vedanta to do beneficent work both here and elsewhere. This wonderful idea of the sameness and omnipresence of the Supreme Soul has to be preached for the amelioration and elevation of the human race here as elsewhere. Wherever there is evil and wherever there is ignorance, and want of knowledge, I have found out by experience that all evil comes, as our scriptures say, relying upon differences, and that all good comes from faith in equality, in the underlying sameness and oneness of things. This is the great Vedantic ideal. To have the ideal is one thing, and to apply it practically to the details of daily life is quite another thing. It is very good to point out an ideal, but where is the practical way to reach it? Shall I continue?
Yeah, now we can discuss the first para. This para by para we are discussing, isn't it?
Yes. So here actually oneness is the underlying feature of everything, but there is difference between the practicality and the theory that is mentioned.
Yeah, any other points you want to make? Others? So if you see, the mission of the Vedanta lecture is given by Kumbhakonam by Swamiji. So this is referring to the earlier para. If you remember the earlier para, so Swamiji is speaking about the Vedantic oneness. If you want me to bring the gist of this para, the universal application of Vedanta has been told by Swamiji here. Universal application of Vedanta. I mean, universally, Vedanta can be practiced universally. When I say universally, across all the countries, across all religions, and across all the cultures. Why? And Swamiji, in the last paragraph, he referred to two shlokas in the Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter, 27th verse. Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam sthavara jangamam kshetra kshetragna sanyogat tadvidhi bharatarshava. O Arjuna, whatever moving or unmoving being you see in existence, know it to be a combination of the field of activities and knower of the field. This is one para, this is one, and the other next shloka, samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashatsva vinashantyam yah pashyati sapashyati. They alone true see who perceive the Supreme Self accompanying the soul in all beings and who understand both to the imperishable in this perishable body. So Swamiji is giving this idea, 13th chapter, Kshetra Kshetragna Yoga, 27th and 28th verse meaning has been told in the last para. He has given the, not the literal translation, but you can say Bhavartha. It is a good, the essence has been translated aptly. After that, he is continuing that this is a great verse or the great idea of Vedanta, which is universal in nature. So there is no bar between any caste, any religion, any culture, any country, or any walk of life, or maybe you may belong to any professional. So everyone can practice it. Why? Seeing the God or seeing the divinity in everywhere, in everything, is what our spiritual life is. If you ask from the Bhagavad Gita from the Bhakti point of view, seeing the God everywhere, experiencing the God everywhere is what the essence. It starts with experiencing in oneself, experiencing the God in oneself, then finally it will culminate in experiencing the God everywhere. The same thing with the Vedanta, but a different language. We experience that I am the divine, Aham Brahmasmi. Then afterwards, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. It culminates where Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Or Tattvamasi, you can say. So everything is what? Consciousness and consciousness alone. So that is the ideal. And that has to be put into day-to-day life. Probably I would like to tell you a story which is really, at least when I heard this conversation with one of the devotee, I was astonished how even a householder can reach to this beautiful state. I thought I will tell at the end, probably I will tell now itself. When you practice Vedanta or when you practice spirituality sincerely in day-to-day life, what happens? I had told the story of a youngster who is of my age, more or less. He wanted to join the order. But before his completion of the graduation, his father passed away. He's from South India. His father passed away, unfortunately. And in no time, because of the shock, his mother got paralysis. They're from middle-class family. Then after finishing the graduation, he has to rush for work to take care of the family. And he had a younger sister. Then he had to take care of her education. She finished her law and she became a judge in one of the court. And finally, for 12 years, he had to serve his mother because she was bedridden because of the paralytic stroke. He has to give her bath, feed her, clean things and all. Everything was on the bed. So for 12 years in this present age, he served his mother. Then when his mother passed away, he was overaged. So he couldn't join. Then he had to enter into Grihasthashrama. He entered Grihasthashrama. Fortunately or unfortunately, I do not know. Maybe unfortunately, he didn't have any children. Then because of the maybe interest or attachment, they adopted a child, girl, basically. Because these people are very religious and spiritual in nature, when they adopted, they didn't follow any rules, regulation. Like you go for a lawyer and through the court, adopting whatever the rules and regulation is there, they didn't follow it. Only this, the volunteer or a devotee asked the mother of the child that you promise that you are giving this child to me and I will promise that I am accepting and I will take care. So just it was religious in nature. In front of God, they promised each other and they took. It was exchanged. Then I think the daughter's father, biological father, deserted her mother and she was all alone and she had some issues and all. Then finally, she jumped on him that you have to marry me now because I have given my daughter to you, you have to marry. This fellow was in trouble. Then he said, sorry, I have got my wife, I can't marry you and all. Then she was troubling him. But anyhow, with God's grace, for 6 months or 1 year, he had to suffer, struggle. Then finally he could come out from this problem. Then just off late in the sense, just 2-3 weeks before, that biological mother came and she was able to cajole her daughter and she snatched her, she took away her own daughter and she went. For 1 or 2 days, this devotee was feeling bad that because, the daughter went. Then after 1 or 2 days, immediately his mind started thinking, look, I had a desire that I should have children. Then Sri Ramakrishna gave me a daughter for say 10 years or 11 years. I have taken care of her. My desire is more or less fulfilled. And apart from that, there were so many issues while handling her, while taking care of her. Now, Sri Ramakrishna, by taking her, the problems has been minimized for me. Now I can spend my time more in Japan meditation. It might be Sri Ramakrishna's will that Sri Ramakrishna is helping me to go forward in my spiritual life. As a result, all these things has happened. He has taken in that sense and he has accepted this thing and is able to do more and more japa and meditation. Now, it looks very extreme. It looks very impractical probably for some of us. It looks very extreme probably for some of us. But here you see the spiritual outlook. He has converted every problem into a stepping stone for his spiritual practice. From Artha, he has transformed himself into Jignasu, and from Jignasu, he has transformed himself into Bhakta or Gnani. So this is what spiritual practice. When you do your spiritual practices sincerely, and he is the person who gets up at 3:30 a.m. morning till 8 or 9 a.m. he sits for japa meditation. He's from traditional Brahmin family. He gets up, he does a bath, Sandhya Vandana. He has to make prasad for offering, and he offers and he do Shiva Puja. And apart from that, Ishtamantra japa and other things. 3:30 to 8:39 he does morning, and evening roughly 6 to 8:30 he does japa meditation. Now, here you see terms and conditions apply. Mother says, Holy Mother, if we can do 10 to 15,000 japa every day for 10 to 15 years, then you come and ask me why you will not get peace. So probably he has done that for good amount of time, morning 5 hours, evening 3 hours. As a result, he is able to accept all these shocks and problems, and in spite of that, he is happy. He is not trying to solve the problems of the world. He is not trying to change the people. Rather, he is accepting all the problems not as adversities. Rather, it is an opportunity to go forward in his spiritual life. This is the mindset we, the spiritual aspirants, the bhaktas, we should develop. Dhruva, how much he had to undergo the problem? Prahalada, how much he has to undergo? Swamiji himself has to undergo so many problems. Holy Mother herself had to undergo so many challenges, but they never complained. They were happy in themselves, more or less. So this is what we have to achieve by thinking Sri Ramakrishna. Today, at some point of time, my mind was thinking about some problem for some time. Then immediately, the other part of the mind started thinking, you are thinking of Sri Ramakrishna, you are trying to think of Sri Ramakrishna always, and you are trying to do japa of Sri Ramakrishna always. Sri Ramakrishna never had a morose face and is Ananda Rupi, Prema Rupi. How can you be unhappy? By thinking Sri Ramakrishna, how can you be unhappy, my dear mind? This question was posed by the other part of the mind. Then immediately my mind became alert and said, all right, these things will come and go. Let me be happy because I am the child of Sri Ramakrishna. So when we can bring either the divinity or God, from the Bhakta's point of view, it is a God, Ishtadevata, or from the Gnani point of view, divinity. When you bring the divinity or God in our life seriously, sincerely, all our problems can be converted into opportunities. So this is the way we have to adapt, and this is the way we have to accept the challenges, and we keep going. So, this is what the essence, when I read this paragraph morning, this is what idea, it came to my mind. When you are really Vedantin, or when you are really Bhakta, this is what going to happen. Yes, we'll start with questioning, discussing, or praying for Thakur. Oh, Thakur, please bless me. Please bless my husband or wife. Please bless my children. Please bless my grandchildren. Please bless my great-grandchildren. Or let me get good job. All these things we will have, no doubt. Such mindset is also a devotee's mindset, no doubt. But from there, slowly, we should start thinking that, what do I want? How much do I want? And somewhere we have to put a comma and a stop. Then afterwards, these things will come and go according to my prarabdha, according to the whatever the reason. Let me be happy at the feet of Thakur. Let me be happy in myself, that is the Atman or Brahman, because that is my inherent nature. Anyhow, it can be a very high dose, but this is what the thing which we are supposed to achieve, and by satsangs and by reading these things. So may Shri Ramakrishna bless all of us to achieve this. Okay, go ahead. Next para.
Here naturally comes the difficult and the vexed question of caste and of social reformation, which has been uppermost for centuries in the minds of our people. I must frankly tell you that I am neither a caste breaker nor a mere social reformer. I have nothing to do directly with your castes or with your social reformation. Live in any caste you like, but that is no reason why you should hate another man or another caste. It is love and love alone that I preach, and I base my teachings on the great Vedantic truth of the sameness and omnipresence of the soul of the universe. For nearly the past 100 years, our country has been flooded with social reformers, and various social reform proposals. Personally, I have no fault to find with these reformers. Most of them are good, well meaning men, and their aims too are very laudable on certain points. But it is quite a patent fact that these 100 years of social reform has produced no permanent and valuable result appreciable throughout the country. Platform speeches have been made by the thousand, denunciations in volumes after volumes have been hurled upon the devoted head of the Hindu race and its civilization, and yet no good practical result has been achieved. And where is the reason for that? The reason is not hard to find. It is in the denunciation itself. As I told you before, in the first place, we must try to keep our historically acquired character as a people. I grant that we have to take a great many things from other nations, that we have to learn many lessons from outside, but I am sorry to say that most of our modern reform movements have been inconsiderate imitations of Western means and methods of work, and that surely will not do for India. Therefore, it is that all our recent reform movements have had no result.
Now, Swamiji speaking history and sociology point of view. Yeah.
This is the repetition actually, that we are doing mere imitation of the West. That will not do. We have to
Mhm.
keep our inherent character.
Yeah. Yes. Any other points? Hmm. I don't know. Well, this today everyone is silent. I don't know. Now, Swamiji is speaking from the history or from the sociology point of view. Very important point here is making. Swamiji is telling very clearly, I have nothing to do with the caste and social reformation. And if you see from the Institute of Culture itself, as I remember, there's a book called Socialistic Philosophy of Swami Vivekananda. Again, I'm not judgmental, so don't take me personally. But if you see in the Bengal especially, I mean, in the Bengal, given the history, political history, socialism, communism, all these things are very much interesting, basically interesting for the people there. And so, Swamiji's views and Swamiji's philosophy on socialism also has come out, no doubt. But Swami Vivekananda himself makes elsewhere a statement. I only advocate socialism because it is better than nothing. Something is better than nothing. From that half loaf of bread is better than nothing. So in that way, I advocate socialism, he speaks. Now he is telling very clearly, I have got only work is, my job is at spiritual level, not at this social level or social reformation. Now, given the history, if you see Arya Samaj, Brahmo Samaj, then Theosophical Society, Prarthana Samaj. So like that, there were so many small groups where they were trying to reform the India based on social values, social philosophy. Though, if not all, some of them also posed themselves as spiritual, religious, but it was not so. So they had taken sort of a Western, style, Western style and Western ideas, and they were trying to push into India's ethos or India's culture. So that's what Swamiji very subtly he rejects it. That is not our way. And when we study this, if you go deeply, if you study, once more we'll understand why Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda was necessary for the upliftment of the India at a true lines. Because they were all partial in their views, it was not comprehensive, it was not complete in their view. Whereas Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda, they are the embodiment of our Hinduism or the Vedantism or our Sanatana Dharma. They absorbed and they gave it very beautifully. So very clearly we can understand. And also Swami is telling very clearly, for 100 years, India has been flooded with social reforms and social reform proposals. It might have been done some good work, no doubt, but it is not tangible work. It is not any palpatably anything has been done. That's what Swami is meaning here. They're good at certain points, no doubt, but it has not produced any permanent and valuable result, which is appreciable throughout the country. That is what Swami Vivekananda is telling very clearly. So here, interestingly, Swami, I think sixth or seventh president, what is his name? I'm forgetting his name. Before Madhavananji, Shankarananji, Swami Shankarananji, at the inauguration of our training center, there are so many talks recorded by our President Maharaj, Vice President Maharaj, General Secretary Maharaj, and senior monks, which is available in our training center, which is not available for public, of course. It is only meant for only the monastics there. So in the inaugural talk of the training center, Swami Shankaranji makes a beautiful statement. So what is the role of Ramakrishna Mission? If you ask today, oh, it is service, social service, we keep saying that now, or probably it is appearing to some of us. But Swami Shankaranji tells very clearly that it is Brahmavid Sampradaya. What is our Sampradaya? What is our tradition? Brahmavid tradition. Means the tradition which is helping spiritual aspirant to attain Brahmagnana. So means which is spiritual in nature. That is our real Sampradaya. And even Swami Vireshwaranji Maharaj in one of his lectures tells beautifully, Atmano Mokshartam is the main product and Jagad Hitayecha is the byproduct. Means spirituality is the core philosophy of Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda and Ramakrishna Mission also. So why? Because that is the heart and soul of the India and our Sanatana Dharma. So that also has been told very clearly by Swamiji here. So, and also Swami is telling, every country has its own history. India also has its own history. And it has its own progress. It has developed as a race, as a culture. So what is the root of its culture or its land? We have to understand. Based on that, we have to develop. I keep telling these things. For example, recently one youngster was making a statement. Oh, you see how beautiful here things. I said, yes, no doubt. But India is not so like this. I said, fool, you can't compare. Because India's problems, India's challenges, India's culture, ethos are completely different from here. Here, for example, Ireland whole population is 6 million, 60 lakhs. For any city, it is more than a double or triple population. If Calcutta population, if you take probably double or triple whole of Ireland population. So you can't compare. So like this, many times we imitate the West. For example, I always make a fun of it. Jeans pant. The jeans pant started where? Because here gardeners are the people who are working in the fields because of the cold and because they cannot wash it so easily, and if they wash, they cannot dry. So they started using a thick cloth like a gunny bag or whatever, so that they can cover themselves from the cold is one thing, and even if it gets dirt, it is okay, and washable can be reduced for 3-4 days once. Now in Calcutta or in Nagpur, having a 45 degree, wearing a jeans pant, I don't know how people will feel comfort. We simply imitate. Now, same way in the dhoti. Now, in India, we use dhoti and all, especially if not all, the culture, the traditional people and all. Now, the dhoti should be worn in the foreign countries. If you ask, it is very difficult. Of course, we all wear, no doubt, but it is very difficult. Why? Because dhoti will be thinner. Here, the cold now, -3, -6 and all yesterday or day before we had. In -3, -6, if you're wearing a dhoti and if you go out, definitely you will get joint pains and other things. All our clothes are based on the culture and the weather conditions and so many things. So because foreigners were using a particular thing, we can't use it. And because we are doing there, we should not use here also. So like this, we have to understand many things are contextual, many things are based on geography and culture. Just I'm giving simple example. So our culture is what, our country's ethos is what, our country's progress, how it has been progressed. We have to think and we have to develop. That's what Swami is telling very clearly. And his idea on reformation has been told in the last four lines, that we should learn, assimilate good things from other country, other cultures and all, but we have to grow independently. Like for an example, you sow a mango seed, you sow a neem seed next to each other. Same soil, same amount of sunlight, same amount of fertilizer, same amount of water, everything you have given, but mango tree will grow according to it. Mango tree will grow it according to it, and neem tree will grow according to it. Neem tree will not copy mango tree will not copy neem tree. So if something is good in any culture, in any religion, in any country, we shall assimilate, we shall accept it. No doubt, we should not be fanatic. Our country is the only thing right, etc. No, we should develop, we should assimilate, but at the same time, we should not leave our individuality. We should assimilate and we should grow. That's what Swami Vivekananda is telling very clearly. This is what our Indians and Hindus especially, we should understand. We imitate other cultures, other religions simply without thinking properly. So Swami Vivekananda is giving very clearly, harmony of religions, harmony of yoga, Swami Vivekananda and Sri Ramakrishna has spoken. That doesn't mean that simply we have to follow others. No. Take best things from other religions, other cultures, other civilizations, but you be a true Indian, be true Hindu or Sanatani. That's what Swamiji is telling very clearly. We should understand. Yes, Pranamda was telling about food also. Yes, for example, if you know, I come from South India, I used to take gunpowder or pickles and all more. After coming for a few days, I took here also because of the habit. Then slowly I understood, because we don't sweat here. We don't sweat here. So you don't need so much like salt and probably other things. Then now almost like hardly, very rarely I take, maybe weekly once or monthly once or twice only I am taking pickle now, for example. Because you don't need here. In India we sweat, so we need salts and other things. Definitely our foods also, we have to change many things according to the geographical conditions and other things. Yeah.
Maharaj, one point here, another thing was there, another sentence was mentioned here. The platform speeches have been made by the thousand, and denunciations in volumes after volumes have been hurled upon the devoted head of the Hindu race and its civilization, yet no good practical result has been achieved. So this is basically what I feel is basically the people have not concentrated on its own inner value, so that the own pranshakti is missing. So that is why they could not practice whatever has been preached. So is it?
No, Swamiji is telling there are hundreds of speeches has happened denouncing the Indian way, Hinduism, Hindu practices, all these things, but nothing has been achieved by and large. Some changes has been done, might be some good thing might have been done, but by and large, there is no much change, or there is no much effect has been done by that criticisms. Denunciation means what? Criticism, putting someone down. So putting down Hinduism, Hindu culture, Hindu ways and all by so-called intellectuals, by doing that, they have not achieved much. That's what Swamiji is telling here. Yeah.
In the second place, denunciation is not at all the way to do good. That there are evils in our society, even a child can see. And in what society are there no evils? And let me take this opportunity, my countrymen, of telling you that in comparing the different races and nations of the world I have been among, I have come to the conclusion that our people are on the whole the most moral and the most godly, and our institutions are, in their plan and purpose, best suited to make mankind happy. I do not therefore want any reformation. My ideal is growth, expansion, development on national lines. As I look back upon the history of my country, I do not find in the whole world another country which has done quite so much for the improvement of the human mind. Therefore, I have no words of condemnation for my nation. I tell them, you have done well, only try to do better. Great things have been done in the past in this land, and there is both time and room for greater things to be done yet. I am sure you know that we cannot stand still. If we stand still, we lie. We have either to go forward or to go backward. We have either to progress or to degenerate. Our ancestors did great things in the past, but we have to grow into a fuller life and march beyond even their great achievements. How can we now go back and degenerate ourselves? That cannot be. That must not be. Going back will lead our national decay and death. Therefore, let us go forward and do yet greater things. That is what I have to tell you. So here Swamiji is praising about the Indian philosophy, or whatever existing at that time, and there are only two ways, either to go forward or backward. So in the past we have done many great things. We cannot just ignore them. We have to progress from there, going into the national line, or whatever is underlying in the mind of our people.
Yeah. So Swamiji is making very interesting point here. Is denunciation is not all the way to do good. Sometimes we need criticism. Sometimes we have to tell things, but that should not be the main approach. So our main approach should be constructive always. So constructive criticism is always welcome. So just mere denouncing, oh, India is not good, Hinduism with superstitions and beliefs, and Indians are always dirty, the roads are very bad. I mean, such type of comments we keep on hearing from the youngsters or from the people. It was more probably in the olden days, probably. So by such criticisms, just criticisms for criticism's sake, it is of no use. So there should be positive criticism, constructive criticism. That's what Swamiji is telling very clearly. And why? Because show me the country or civilization where there are no evils, where there are no problems. Now, West is suffering from its own problems. For example, freebies, whatever you speak in India, the similar problem is there in the West also, in the name of social housing. They give free house, they give free money. They won't give articles, like rice or food items. They won't give because for other reasons, but they give money. Now there are people in the name of social housing for generations. They are just using the taxpayers' money and just they are leading their life and being laziest fellows. And a lot of money is getting taken over by the social housing. That's what some people claim, at least. We don't know the details, but that's what there is a lot of discussions about this. And also nowadays, because from the Middle East, a lot of people have come here and they're taking all the money from us, taxpayers' money, and they are creating problem. and there's a lot of political unrest even in the Europe. So, and there are so many problems, there are so many difficulties, challenges, whatever across every country, every religion. And why only about criticizing only our country or our religion, our culture at all? So if there are problems, yes, fine. There are problems everywhere. Let us understand it and let us try to rectify it. Let us try to solve it, resolve it in whatever way possible. Instead of the just criticizing things, you don't need intelligence. Even a child can do that. A fool can also do it. That's what Swami is telling. Then afterwards, Swami is making very profound statement. After traveling off of the globe, he's saying that the conclusion is what? The Indians are most moral, godly, and our institutions have their own plan and purpose. So comparing to the Western institutions and Western system, we keep always saying that ours is not good, theirs is good. Swami is telling, no, we have our own plan, we have our own purpose, and we are doing it better, no doubt. I mean, we are doing good, we can try for better or best. But instead of that, following others, imitating others, we'll be going to worst. That's what Swami is telling very clear. When you say that going back, why should we go back means what? Just imitating others, that means what? You are going back. Why? Because there it was mostly worldly centered, power centered, or wealth centered institutions there. Though they may use spirituality and all, but if you see, it is either it is a political, sociological, and economical aspects are very rampant, are very serious, very notable in their religious institutions even. But in our religious institutions, always giving spirituality was the main crux of our institutions. So when it is there already, why you have to go back? So build our country, build your country in your own national lines. Don't imitate others. That's what Swami is telling very clearly. Why? Because we are better. So we let us strive for best. So why you want to go down? That is what Swami is telling again and again. So and he's telling, my ideal is what? Growth, expansion, development on national lines. Growth, development, and expansion on national lines. What is national lines? He tells very clearly elsewhere. What is the twin ideals for the nation is what? Tyaga and Seva. Renunciation and service is the twin ideals of nation. Renunciation means, again, recently I took a talk for IIT Mumbai. There I was telling, renunciation means doesn't mean that everyone should become a monk or a nun. No, that is not at all ideal. Here, renunciation means what? When I was thinking about it, according to me, renunciation means here one is the renunciation of selfishness, aham tyaga. Then alasya tyaga, the renunciation of laziness. The renunciation of selfishness, the renunciation of laziness. And seva. Seva means live and let live, or let me work for the betterment of the society, betterment of the humankind. So when I am working for the betterment of the people, that doesn't mean that I should be poor. I should not take money. No. Rather, let us be a contributor personality. When I say seva, doesn't mean that, oh, seva means I should not expect any money or whatever, then I should do. I mean, that is a one approach, no doubt, but it is not the only thing. It is a narrow meaning. Seva here, according to me, is be a contributor personality. Now, I want to do a job, fine, because to take care of my family, fine. Why are you working? Or just to take my bread and butter, to have my bread and butter, to take care of my kith and kin or family. That's the one approach generally we all have. Instead of that, let me work in such a way that my belly has been filled, no doubt. Apart from that, a company, a society, or 10 people be, beneficial. Let them be beneficiary by my work. So when I say seva, means be a contributor personality. So seva and tyaga is the national ideals of the India. That's what Swami is telling. So build the country on that national lines. And also he's telling very clearly that we have contributed a lot to the world growth by giving ideas, by giving our riches, by giving our resources, indirectly or indirectly, in many ways. So always Indians have worked for not only for themselves, for the betterment of the humanity. what such a grand philosophy, grand culture we have got, grand civilization we have got, then why to go back? Instead of that, let us go forward. So I'm just telling you. And our ancestors have done great in the past. Last 5-6 centuries or 10 centuries, because of the continuous innovations, we have been pushed into poverty, we have been pushed into so many other problems. So by that, we should not decide, we should not judge our country and our forefathers' wisdom or our civilization, which most of us, we are doing the mistake. Every country has its own ups and downs. Every civilization has its own ups and downs. Now the country is good, no doubt. For example, 50 years before or maybe 100 years before, the Britishers were saying that we have a king, we have an empire where there is no sunset. But now you see, it is now no more. So like that Greek civilization, eagles, wherever the eagle goes, it will be captured. That's what Romans or Greeks, they said. Now it is no more. So like the civilizations have come and gone, it has been raised into, it has been reduced into dust. But if you see the Aryan civilization, Indian civilization, it has got so many ups and downs, no doubt, but still we are thriving civilization. So from the long perspective, we should think. So, and also we should keep it in mind, this has been told by Swamiji in the British India, where the Indians had lost their confidence about themselves, self-confidence they lost their confidence about their country, about their culture. Their Swamiji is pushing or pumping that confidence about themselves and about their country and culture. How beautiful it is. That's why Rajgopalachari, the first Governor General of India, he says that without Swami Vivekananda, we would have lost the country and Hinduism, whatever we have got. He is the maker of the modern India, Rajgopalachari says. So when we read such a beautiful, profound statements of Swamiji in lectures from Colombo to Almora, we can understand how he created India, modern India, through his fiery speeches. And how he made intellectuals to rethink about their own country, about their culture and civilizations. So real freedom fighters with a right perspective, they came from reading Swami Vivekananda's ideas. Yeah.
I am no preacher of any momentary social reform. I am not trying to remedy evils. I only ask you to go forward and to complete the practical realization of the scheme of human progress that has been laid out in the most perfect order by your ancestors. I only ask you to work to realize more and more the Vedantic ideal of the solidarity of man and his inborn divine nature. Had I the time, I would gladly show you how everything we have now to do was laid out years ago by our ancient lawgivers, and how they actually anticipated all the different changes that have taken place and are still to take place in our national institutions. They also were breakers of caste, but they were not like our modern men. They did not mean by the breaking of caste that all the people in a city should sit down together to a dinner of beef steak and champagne, nor that all fools and lunatics in the country should marry when, where, and whom they choose, and reduce the country to a lunatic asylum. Nor did they believe that the prosperity of a nation is to be gauged by the number of husbands its widows get. I have yet to see such a prosperous nation. So, continue or
Yeah. So if you ask, Swamiji is telling very clearly, if you see the para, I only ask you to work to realize more and more the Vedantic ideal of the solidarity of man and his inborn divine nature. So that is the core philosophy, Vedantic philosophy. He is saying that build your country, build your civilization, build your culture on this. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, Ekam Satvipra Bahuda Vadamte. The same idea. So this is our core philosophy. So build your nation based on this line. Now, many people say, oh, Vedanta, fine, all these things are fine, but Vedanta cannot fill our stomach. Vedanta cannot bring a scientific progress. Vedanta cannot solve our day-to-day problems, which is in our culture, society, or whatever. That question might come for all of us, but when we seriously, deeply think, no. If you put the Vedanta into practice, in reality, everything will be harmoniously grown. How, for example? Now, why should I help a human being, fellow human being? One, you can say duty. The other is from humanistic philosophy, he is also fellow being. So by serving him, I will be serving the God. Love thy neighbor like yourself, as Jesus Christ said. We keep quoting like this. So if you see, basically, more or less, there is a philosophical outlook behind every work or behind every project. And Swami Vivekananda saying is that Vedanta can be the best basis for all our works. Earlier, I think somewhere in 2012 or 13, I had written an article on Vedantic humanism. So Vedanta can be the best basis for the humanism. Instead of socialistic philosophy or any other isms, Vedantism can be the best base for the humanism. So when you accept the solidarity of the human beings and inborn divine nature, then what happens? Work translate into worship. Then what happens? Every work will, instead of being a bane, will be a stepping stone for my spiritual progress, for my liberation. That is from individualistic point of view. And when I'm doing it with utmost care, obviously that will bring good for the people or for the culture, for the civilization. That's where Swami Ranganathanji Maharaj said to one of the IAS officer. He went to Delhi, in a Delhi to meet an IAS officer. And Ranganathanji Maharaj was just finding an occasion to start his conversation. Then he was thinking how to start his conversation. Then he saw a Bhagavad Gita book on his table. Then he said, oh, you read Bhagavad Gita, that's fine. Then the IAS officer just casually told, once in a while when I feel very depressed or when I feel very, difficulty because of my work pressure or whatever, once in a while I read, it gives some solace to me. Swami Ranganathanji immediately said, no, the Gita is not meant for that. Then the IAS officer asked, he took aback. And he said, okay, my dear Swami, I'm an IAS officer. So I'm a bureaucrat and IAS officer. Do you mean to say that Gita has got more privilege or rather some other relevance to my life or to my work? Swami Ranganathanji said, yes. By reading Bhagavad Gita properly and putting into practice, you can be a better IAS officer and you can serve the society properly. See, what a magnanimous statement. An IAS officer can be a better IAS officer by reading Bhagavad Gita, Swami Ranganathanji says. Again, it comes to the Swami Vivekananda's idea that by preach the divinity or divine nature of human being, then what happens? If the sleeping soul, if it awakens, the fisherman can become better fisherman, student can become better student, doctor can become better doctor. So all these things, Swamiji is telling very clearly again and again that Vedanta should be the basis for all our growth so that harmoniously our growth individually and collectively can happen. That's what Swamiji is telling. And again, he's telling, I am not for any social reform. And he is mentioning about the caste system. Caste system was very prevalent in those days. Now also is there, but those days. And Swamiji is telling about it that I am not going to make any statement. Why? Because casteism is based on the social institution. Casteism is a social institution. It is nothing to do with the religion. Unfortunately, it has been intertwined. It has been linked with the religion, but it has nothing to do with the religion. It is a social institution. And he has given a beautiful lecture called Privileges in the West. So we should read. So Swamiji tells very clearly that whether Brahmin or Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra or any Varna caste can be there. There is no problem. Only superior and inferior. Making up superior and inferior and giving exclusive privileges to a particular start of society and class of society brings problems. So remove that, then the problems will be clear. Help the humankind, help the weak people, help the obsessed people. That's what Swami Vivekananda says. So he's not going to any caste system because it is a social institution. It has nothing to do with the religion and the spirituality. So he says that I am not for any social reform. So hence I am also not speaking of caste system or whatever. And afterwards, he brings the Rishihood beautifully. I thought today I'll be able to finish it. Complete it, this lecture at least. But anyhow, we couldn't do it. Probably at least next class we will be able to complete it.
Yes. So Maharaj, I have a question, not directly based on this. So what is the difference between work as worship and work is worship?
Okay, so I can say like this. So work is worship goes in a different stages. 3 stages I can say. Work and worship,
Hmm.
work as worship, work is worship. And if you ask me, on the funny side, if not all, many times worship becomes a work for us. For most of the priests, with all due respects, I tell that. So worship becomes a work. Oh, morning you have to get up and do Sandhya Vandana. Morning you have to get up and do some house puja in the house because that's our tradition. Many times the people get up and they do puja. So puja also, the worship also becomes work for them. So they have to do so many works, among them work. So that's how we start actually. Worship becomes work for us, including our spiritual practice. I have to do japa, I have to do meditation, it seems, so I'm doing it. Mechanically or somehow or otherwise we are trying to do. We don't enjoy. That's how our spiritual life starts. Once in a while we enjoy it, but regularly we don't enjoy. If we enjoy, we won't leave our spiritual practice. For example, watching a reel or watching a movie, we enjoy, if not all, many of us. Then we don't feel boredom while watching any of them. But when we come to Japan meditation, we get so many other issues, so many other problems and all. Why? Our mind is not yet refined to enjoy the Japan meditation. The more and more it enjoys, then automatically it finds time. So work and worship work is different, worship is different. That's how our life starts with. And Swami Shivanji Maharaj tells very clearly, work and worship are the two, wings of a bird. Both should go hand in hand. So because I'm doing seva, we cannot neglect our spiritual practice. By doing spiritual practice, we cannot neglect the seva or work. So Swami Shivanji Maharaj very clearly he tells. So work and worship should go hand in hand. So we should try to practice our spiritual practices diligently, daily, every day. And apart from that, our work, our responsibilities, services. That's how it should go. So work and worship will be compartmentalized. It will happen at the beginning. Then when you go more and more, when our desires are refined, when our mind is refined, then you will start feeling that work is worship. Work as worship. Now, I will give a simple example. Recently, also, I think I detailed in the Chandi class, in the last Durga Saptashri class, Chandi class. Now, looking after a child. Now, looking after a child as a duty you can look after. Bathing her, feeding her, taking care of her. Any child, during the infancy stage, it is not that easy. Mother has to sacrifice many things. She has to sacrifice her food, she has to sacrifice her sleep, she has to sacrifice many things, and it is a time-boggling, so many things. Now, it is a duty one can take care. Fathers also have to do a lot of sacrifices. Then otherwise, fathers will feel that we do so many things and our sacrifice is not considered or noticed. Only mothers' work is considered. Sometimes male people do feel. Fathers also have their own sacrifices and their duties. Anyhow, as a duty, you can do it as a parent. And if not with the duty, along with the duty, some amount of love and some amount of attachment, we keep doing it. That's how most of us we do it. But that can be done also as a spiritual practice. No doubt, she is my daughter, no doubt, biological daughter, but she is also a little Sharada. Or the Ishtadevata has come in that form, in his form or her form. So by bathing her, by feeding her, I am doing the worship of Sri Ramakrishna, our Holy Mother Sharda. I can start thinking that. Or even say, for an example, cleaning the house. I don't have a maid, so I have to clean my house, I have to sweep, I have to mop, and my parents are, my children or husband doesn't support me, or they support once in a while, or maybe a little bit. So definitely it is exhausted sometimes. So when I'm sweeping, when I'm mopping and all, so this is a house belong to Thakur. I'm only caretaker. The house is in my name, fine. That's all fine, but that is all business transactions and all. But the real owner of this house is Holy Mother or Sri Ramakrishna. So it is Mother's house. It is Sri Ramakrishna's house. I am sweeping here, I am mopping here, I am cleaning here, I am maintaining things and all. That is the home of Sri Ramakrishna. I am doing a service to Sri Ramakrishna. Through that, I am worshipping Sri Ramakrishna. Even so-called menial jobs like washing, cooking, cleaning and all, this can be started looking as worship. So here, work as worship, we are trying to do it. Still there is a division. Still there is a division, but we are trying to do work as worship. And when we to go to the particular stage, then work and worship, there will be no difference. Swami Shuddhanandji, there was a Kali Puja in Belur Math. Kali Puja, night it starts at around 8:30 or 9 p.m. Then it ends at 2 or 3 a.m. more or less. So the Kali Puja had done. So sadhus and brahmacharis finished the Kali Puja, whole puja, then homa and all. Then after Purnahuti, they came and they were going towards their rooms. Swami Shuddhanandji came out from his room. He asked, "Oh brother or brothers, did the Kali Puja finished well?" Shuddhanji asked, and the sadhu brahmachari said, "Yes, Maharaj, everything went on well, everything was well." "Oh, I did my Kali Puja in my room itself." The sadhus and brahmacharis thought, "Oh, Maharaj, he did some personal worship of Mother Kali in his own room." They were thinking. Probably someone asked Maharaj himself, Shuddhanandji himself cleared his statement. What does he mean? He said that I was doing a proofreading of complete works of Swamiji this whole night. So I was doing a proofreading of complete works of Swami Vivekananda. By doing that, I have done my mother worship. How? By doing the proofreading. So here, work as worship. No, work is worship. So this is what it happens. And if you see in Kalyananandji's case, we all know that Kalyananandji was asked by Swami Vivekananda, "Kalyan, can you do something for me?" Kalyan Maharaj told, "Yes, Swamiji," because he was his Gurudev also. He said, "Whatever you do, I will do it." Then Swamiji asked, "Whatever I ask, will you do?" He said, "Yes, Maharaj. If you want me to jump into water, if you want me to jump into fire, I am ready to do it." Swamiji laughed and said, "You need not to jump into fire." And he said 100 or 200 rupees he had, whatever the money he had with him, he gave. And he said, "During my Parivrajaka days, I have seen monks and yatrartika, pilgrimage people, they were suffering because of the lack of medical aid in those days in the Himalayas. So can you go and serve them?" Now, Kalyananji doesn't come from medical background. He doesn't have any medical exposure. That we should keep it in mind. Kalyan said, yes. He never asked, where should I go? What should I do? Where should I live? What about my food? What about my stay arrangements? Nothing he asked. He said, yes. Then Swamiji said, forget Bengal. Forget Bengal, go and serve the people. He said, yes. And he went. And himself didn't have a proper place to stay, and he was staying in the thatched dirt. Then he picked up some local medicine or local medicines how to treat and all. Then he went, people finding yatrartis and especially monks and all, giving some medicines. If not, then if their conditions are serious, because there was no other way, he has to carry them on his shoulders. 5, 10, 20 kilometers in the Himalayas, in the forest. Ourselves going and coming itself is a big issue for all of us. Now he is carrying a patient on his, while carrying sometimes excreta was done and vomiting used to be done. He never felt any bad. He used to come and he used to clean that patient, bathe him, and he afterwards probably would have cleaned his dress and all, whatever. Then he used to feed him, nurse him, then afterwards he goes. That's how our mission sadhus were called Bangi sadhus in those days, in the Haridwar and all. Bangi means what? Scavenger. So we are called scavenger sadhus, scavenger monks, because we are cleaning all these things and all. And he used to do daytime. And nighttime, what he used to do is to sit and meditate for hours together. Now, this is an extreme case, of course, we probably. But whole day is doing so much physical work, going and treating the patients, bringing the patients, nursing, cleaning their bandage and all, whole day. And night is sitting and meditating for hours together. Hardly used to sleep, probably 2, 3, 4 hours or whatever, I don't know. Very less sleep he used to sleep. Why? Swami Vivekananda has told that. I mean, he is blessed and he became a Brahmajnani. In his case, for him, work was worship. There is no difference between work and worship. So while cleaning the patient's wound or cleaning or whatever, probably was feeling that I'm doing the Abhishekam. I'm doing the Abhishekam for Lord Shiva. Because Lord Shiva is coming in the form of living God in this form of patient. So if we can start looking at this attitude, when I'm cleaning, sweeping, mopping, everything, God is everywhere. It is a God's property. It is a God's house. It is a God's ashrama. So I'm serving. Very simple vase making or flowers cleaning or cooking, cleaning vessels or utensils, washing, whatever it may be. Everything is belong to God. Because God and God alone exist when you say, then when there's only self and consciousness and consciousness alone, all this seva is for Him. So that's what it happens. In Bhagavad Gita, it gives a beautiful practical statement. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yajju hoshi dadasi yat tat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madharpanam. Whatever you do, everything you do as a offering towards me, and you do the work. So then there is no, that's what Sister Nivedita tells in the complete works, introduction. Henceforth, there is no difference between sacred and secular. To labor is to pray. What to labor is to pray means what? If for you are doing some work, that means what? It is as good as worship. It is as good as meditation. It is as good as japa. So work and worship, work as worship, work is worship. These are the three stages which we have to grow in our spiritual life. So consciously we have to develop, we have to bring Sri Ramakrishna, our Holy Mother, our Swamiji, in every walk of our life, in every work. That's how every work can be converted to worship. I think there's a beautiful book by Brother Lawrence, the practice of presence of God or presence of God, that has been told by many of our senior monks to study for us. At least, it is available in the PDF copy also. Book is also available. PDF copies are also available in internet. Probably that also you can read. Or this sloka you can read and think more and more. Yat karoshi yadashna sejju hoshi dadasiyat tat tapasyasya kaunteya tat kurushva madarpana. It is from Gita. So we can think more and more on this, and we shall try to put into practice.
Sir,
Thank you.
Maharaj, actually, means what I feel, that between work as worship and work is worship, the line is very thin. Because when you are bathing the child, considering her as the little Swarada, and when you are talking about Kalyananandaji looking after a patient, so that both are, you are considering him as the God and you are doing that work. So why one is work as worship and one is work is worship. So
Okay.
work and worship, that are different, that we know initial stage. But after that, both the things, somehow I feel that they are almost the same, no?
Yeah, it is almost the same, but it is not the same. Okay. Now I will tell you, probably I'll give a simple, crude example. You will understand. Now, in your Upasana, you are trying to imagine that Sri Ramakrishna is in your heart. And you are trying to imagine that Sri Ramakrishna is in your heart. You are imagining, and you are also imagining that you are worshipping Sri Ramakrishna, and you are trying to imagine that you are feeling Sri Ramakrishna's presence, and you are doing japa. As if Sri Ramakrishna is in your heart. Now you continuously, seriously, every day you started practicing for a few days, months, years, or whatever. Then you started experiencing Sri Ramakrishna. Earlier it was an imagination. Powerful imagination, no doubt. Now it is a fact. So when you say work as worship, you are trying to think, you are trying to impose an idea or an attitude that works is also as good as nothing but worship. You are trying to imagine, you are trying to develop an attitude, you are trying to superimpose the idea. Work as worship, when you say. Work is worship means what? There is no difference between work and worship. So in work as worship, as a sadhaka, he is trying to develop that attitude or practice that attitude. Work is worship is what? You have attained that siddhi. You attain that result, whatever to be attained. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Maharaj.
Maharaj,
Thing. Sorry. Realization is the thing.
Yes.
If we are realized, then the difference is gone. Work as worship becomes work is worship.
Maharaj, in the first case, work and worship, there, because the spiritual aspirant is in the initial stage, and the mind is not so purified, or mind is not so concentrated, so and 24 hours one cannot do spiritual japa and all this. So the balance of the time, if he engages into the work, so he gets his mind is away from the evil things, because idle mind is the devil's workshop, normal this thing. So that is the work and worship. We start as a practice, and then we reach the stage as work as worship. So is,
No, probably I would like to put like this. So many times, I mean, it may be a fact also, I don't undermine it, but you say, oh, Swamiji, we are so busy, what to do? We don't have a time to do japa. We are so busy, we don't have a time to read Kathamrut. We don't have a time, I mean, we are busy, Swamiji, we are occupied too much so that we cannot come to ashram. So here, work and worship is not happening. I mean, I don't mean that if they are not coming to ashram, they are not spiritual. I don't say that. But at least if they are doing their spiritual practice in their house, that is fine. So their work and worship is not happening. So when you say work and worship, okay, you are doing some, work, 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours work, whatever is necessary for you, as per the necessary. Apart from that, you are also giving equal importance or enough importance to your worship. See, we all give importance for our day-to-day life, either maybe in the domestic life or in our professional life, because we have to give it. Otherwise, we cannot live our life. Okay, there much is not required. But at least, if not more, similar importance do we give for our worship also?
no,
I couldn't do. That's what I mean. Work and worship, when we say, so work and worship should go hand in hand, means what? We should try to develop both. Work is done by many people, no doubt, but worship is neglected. So we cannot neglect the worship in the name of the work.
No.
For example, I will give an example. When we joined, during Jayantis, we used to go for senior monks do pranam, because I joined in Bangalore also. It was a retired monk center. So quite 7 or 8 monks, retired monks were quite seniors. So when we went and did pranam, and then I was a Bandari, then I was looking after kitchen. Just I joined 15 days themselves in itself, they gave me that responsibility. Anyhow, then they were asking me with all concern. Okay, today is Jayanti. I know that you are kitchen in charge, so you have got a lot of work responsibility, because 800, 500 or 1000 plus people are coming, so you have to look after their feeding and all. Some volunteers will be the 30 to 50 volunteers, you have to look after their feeding and all. Fine. Is it? Yes. Today you have come to do pranam, fine. But, we being a monks and brahmacharyans, our real celebration is what? One is, you have given the responsibility, you do it well, you will do it, we know it. But not only that, because being a special day, whatever you are doing japa, say 1000 japa you are doing, you should do 2000 or 3000 japa more. Because this is special day, we have to do more japa. So this idea they used to forcefully put in our minds. For us, this is what real Rakur Jayanti should be there. So instead of doing 1000 japa, because I have got a lot of work, lot of responsibility, you should not neglect your japa. First and foremost. So whatever you do in japa, you should do that much, at least minimum, first point. If possible, you should increase your japa, because today is a special day. See, the approach is see. So generally when we have got an event, when we've got a special event in the ashram or in the house, today I have to do so many things. I may do just namesake, I may do japa or meditation or upasana, and I may leave it. Or I may say, today so much work is there, I cannot do it. Tomorrow I will do it. I mean, that's how in many cases it starts with, that's how we do it many times. So that means work and worship is not happening. Somehow we have to squeeze our time, somehow we have to make arrangements in such a way that we cannot leave our upasana. We may have to shift the time, fine. We may have to reduce little bit, fine. We may have to do in a parts, never mind. But we cannot neglect our spiritual practice. That's what I mean. The scriptures mean work and worship.
But you are focusing more on the ritualistic part, means sit down, do japa 2000, 5000 times, and then go for work. So this is more of a ritual rather than the mental focus on my deity, on my chosen deity. So this is the thing, isn't it? That are we not mixing up the thing?
No. See, for most of us, without sitting and doing japa itself is difficult. Concentrating our mind on God is most difficult for most of us. We make counting the japa fine, but many of the time our mind is not concentrated. Until otherwise, for larger extent, to certain extent, if we cannot do this ritualistically as our gurus told step by step practice, if we don't do it, we cannot bring the God in our day-to-day life during other times. Some spiritual progress has happened, some mental maturity has been done, some refinement has been done in our character, and our vasanas has been reduced, our spiritual practice is intact, then only we can bring Sri Ramakrishna in our work. Otherwise, mostly what happens, when we are doing work to fulfill our egos, to fulfill our desires, to show who am I, we'll be doing it. Consciously or unconsciously. Subtly we will be doing this. That's where what our gurus have told. For example, my Gurudev had told me that every day you should do 1000 japa. Okay. Now, whether I am ill or well, whether I am free or busy, I don't have alternative. I don't have a freedom that, I will not do japa. I am progress now. I am a monk of now. So 25 years I stayed in the monastery. What is there? Anywhere I do japa, japa is japa. No. Other times I have to do japa. I have to think of Sri Ramakrishna as much as possible, no doubt. But sitting and doing that much is mandatory. That's where I tell many of the people ask here in the West especially, can we do other type of japa meditation? I said, I also teach, no doubt. But you can do all that. But the main, your guru has taught the upasana, that you should keep it intact. Afterwards, you do extra booster like.
But Holy Mother has given concession, right? During travel or during the full day walk or somewhere you are going out station, and otherwise you are busy somehow, you cannot avoid it. So in that case, Holy Mother has given concession. So
yes,
what
sometimes
about
cannot
that?
be all the time.
Huh?
Yes, sometimes cannot be all the time. Yes, no, I understand. Even Raja Maharaja said, Mahapurush Maharaja said, if you are too busy, at least sit for 5 minutes, like 2 minutes or 5 minutes, do complete your japa and go. That's what they have said, 108. So 108 you do and go like that. Means 108 means like 5 minutes. That's what they said. But that is extreme conditions. Now that I leave to the individuals. It is up to the individuals how much they want, and if they feel that, oh no, we are busy, Holy Mother has said, okay, we can take that liberty. Yes, I leave to that individuals.
Maharaj, just away from the subject, can I ask something? I to take this opportunity since I'm getting you. I had sent you a post on this Vivekananda. So, and I request, because I did not understand. I got the post from somewhere, but I could not understand the meaning. I can read it for the others to know what I'm talking about. But if you are ready, because if you have the time to explain, or otherwise we will postpone it to the next class.
Yeah, I think last a lot of question answers has happened already.
Okay,
Maybe
okay.
if you don't mind,
We'll
we can
postpone
think
it.
take it for
We'll
next class.
postpone it. We'll postpone it.
So Maharaj, when will be the next class? That is
Yeah, 21 we can have.
okay.
Yeah, next week I'll be going to Scotland, so I will not be here. So 21st we can do.
Okay, so
2 weeks after.
21st January, Wednesday, at the same time, India time
Yeah.
3:30, from 3:30, we will be continuing with the same lecture. So for
Yeah.
all the devotees, our link is the same. So you can join through the same link, the class.
Mm.
Thank you, Maharaj. So after a long time we are having our class, and we are so thankful to you. Thank you.
After November. Pranam Maharaj.
Punam Maharaj.
Pranam Maharaj.
Pranam and thank you, Maharaj.
Namaste to all of you. Balo Takben.